larger story behind those visuals. Following Sheikh Hasina's ouster on August 5th last year, the India-Bangladesh ties took a frosty turn. The meeting in Bangkok, however, has come as an opportunity to set things straight. But can India really overlook doings of the last 8 months in Bangladesh under Yunus? The horrifying images of loot, attack, violence on Hindu minorities, the complete mayhem on the streets of Bangladesh, sending shockwaves across the global community, but especially here in India. It was one of the worst persecutions suffered by Hindus in recent times. Our Jawans provoked and injured at the hands of Yunus's men at the border. Intrusion, smuggling, cross-border aggression, the instigation attempts have been many, particularly since the regime change. The latest in the series has been Yunus's efforts to cozy up to Xi Jinping. In his attempt to please the Chinese premier, Yunus targeted India's northeast, attracting massive backlash across political lines, across community lines in India. India hasn't clearly forgotten any of it, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi also made his stance very firmly as far as minorities, border crossings and others are concerned, such that even Yunus's walk down memory lane trick might not be able to soften. So what has been India's clear message to Yunus today? First, reiterating positive and constructive relationship based on spirit of pragmatism, cautioning that any rhetoric that vitiates the environment is best avoided, reminding the other side of strict enforcement of the law at the borders, which is absolutely necessary, mentioning also the concerns over safety and security of minorities, including Hindus, expressing expectation that Bangladesh will ensure their security and that they will thoroughly investigate all cases of atrocities impartially. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Mohammad Yunus met, it's important to remember these provocations that we're talking about. Remember, it was only days ago that Mohammad Yunus targeted India in a manner we did not expect from a neighbor, claiming that India's 7 sisters in the northeast are landlocked and that it would help China build, produce and market, a comment triggering massive backlash and of course threatening the very territorial integrity of India. Yunus towing the pro-Pak line isn't new, but Dhaka has witnessed many firsts in the process, from ISI chief visiting Dhaka for the first time in decades to Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar's upcoming visit to Dhaka, a first in 13 years. Yunus's meeting with George Soros's son in January this year and his latest visit to China and the subsequent agreements have made the writing clear on the wall. He is clearly trying to make inroads with India's enemies. And his enabling of anti-Hindu sentiment isn't news anymore. From the arrest of Hindu monk Chinmoy Prabhu to atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh that he has tried to brush under the carpet repeatedly. So I want to discuss first up, what are the options for India to get Bangladesh to fall in line? After all, there is a lot that India has done and continues to do for its neighbour. India, as the largest democracy in the world, can question Yunus's unelected political legitimacy. Maybe hasten an election. We can also use our upstream position as bargaining chip. Of course, we can continue to use diplomatic and economic might at international forums and of course in a bilateral manner. At the border, India must look now to increase patrols, restrict cross-border movement, because this is something that Bangladesh is kind of troubling India with already. India can also look at slapping trade barriers amid US reciprocal tariffs. This could well be an opportunity. Of course, it will come with a cost of its own. And we can also look at denying or regulating visas for medical tourism. Most of the patients come from Bangladesh. Now, there will be cuts we will have to suffer too, but that's a call that can be made at a larger level given the kind of provocations that are coming in from Bangladesh. So even as Narendra Modi and Mohammad Yunus meet, the big question we're asking today is this: tough talk has been done. Is it time for action, both from India's side but also from Bangladesh?
Seven states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy.
India believed in a people-centric approach to the relationship and highlighted the cooperation between the two countries over a long period of time that has delivered tangible benefits to people in both countries.
Ordinarily speaking, in diplomatic circles, these messaging that India has done today should be enough. But will India need to do a little bit more given the geopolitical realities? I'll take that question to our guest joining us. Veena Sikri is former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Meeta Chakrabarti, spokesperson of the Congress Party with us. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow, ORF. And Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry is a Bangladeshi journalist who's been tracking today's developments very closely as well. I want to start with Veena Sikri first because, ma'am, you would have the best perspective on what India has said so far today. Is there more to be read between the lines, or India has been clear with its major concerns? Because I do have to say, as ordinary Indians, top of our mind is a kind of territorial integrity threat that has come advertently or inadvertently from Mohammad Yunus recently over his Northeast remark. How do you see how India has responded today?
I think today's meeting has been very clear and very frank. I think if you see the readout of this meeting, which has been put out by the Ministry of External Affairs a short while ago, I think it's very clear. India has laid down absolutely in a crystal clear manner that we want a democratic, peaceful, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh.
Yes.
And we've explained about their so-called whatever they keep on saying about attacks on the border and border killings and so on. And we've spoken about that we are ready for having a good relationship, but Bangladesh has to stop this rhetoric, and Bangladesh has to stop giving these anti-India statements all the time which affect India's security red lines. I think the most important point here is that India is very clear on one thing, that we cannot allow our security red lines to be affected. And I think that Mohammad Yunus, what he said in China to the Chinese businessmen, that the northeastern states are in the control of Bangladesh, and that telling the Chinese you can extend your economy to the northeastern states. This is absolutely unbelievable.
And at one point he even said Nepal, as if you can use this to cross over to Nepal and whatnot as well. I don't know what he meant.
No, he was trying to tell the Chinese, he was telling the Chinese businessmen, oh, please come to Bangladesh. We have so much electricity coming from Nepal and from Bhutan into Bangladesh. But he forgot that that electricity comes from Nepal and Bhutan through India. And so he does not think that he can offer China whatever he likes and India is going to keep quiet. And earlier today, we got even more disturbing news that Bangladesh is offering to China to build a modern Air Force base for Bangladesh near the Siliguri corridor.
Yes.
And China will give the money and Pakistan will do the implementation. Now this is a complete security red line, and India has got
I guess. What are we doing about it? The ordinary citizens would wonder, given how sensitive this is to us, what are we doing? Will it, or should India say something in front of the world as well?
I think in what we expect, Mohammad Yunus is not a constitutional government. It's an illegitimate government. Mohammad Yunus talking about mandated reforms. Who has mandated him to do the reforms? An interim government is only there to conduct elections, but even that, this government has forfeited because their regime is not a neutral, non-party regime. They have all the Islamist parties in their regime. The Islami Andolan Bangladesh, the Hizb ut-Tahrir, the Jamaat-e-Islami behind Mohammad Yunus. So I think that we have to explain today in no uncertain terms what India's position is. Now we have to watch what Bangladesh will do, and then we have to see what we will do. We have to use our leverages. We have to make sure that our security red lines are not crossed. We have to understand that the good relations between Sheikh Hasina and India were due to the fact that she recognized India's security red lines and observed those security red lines for 15 years, which gave Bangladesh a very peaceful and economically prosperous Bangladesh. They had 6-7% economic growth every year. And India had peace in the northeast, which was very important for us as well. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship that we are prepared to build with Bangladesh, but it is up to Mohammed Yunus and other regimes which come after him, because he is not going to be there. I mean, there's got to be an elected regime, and we want an elected regime to be free, so let us see what happens, and we are not going to hesitate to use our own leverages.
Okay, I will come back to you on what the next escalation from India could be, but I do want to go across to our rest of the panelists meanwhile. Sushant, Sareen, I read this interesting comment on social media that Bangladesh has been Ukrainized against Pakistan in the mix. How do you read the situation? Has India done enough?
I think what appears to be happening is that India is biding her time. I think India understands that it's a very important relationship, and I think there is a certain amount of patience that we are showing towards Bangladesh. Remember that the Prime Minister did not meet the Bangladeshi, this fellow chief advisor, whatever he's called, on other occasions. But this time he decided that, okay, fine, let me meet him. And I think a very clear message has been delivered to the Bangladeshis, and about whatever red lines we have and whatever we expect from Bangladesh. Now, remember, this seems to be Mr. Modi's style. He did this with the Pakistanis from 2014 to almost 2016, until he finally gave up and he realized that nothing's going to come out of it. I suppose he's trying something similar with the Bangladeshis. I suspect nothing is really going to come out of it, because look, the kind of comments which Yunus made, it was not Yunus who made it. Before him, one of the members of his cabinet said something similar. In fact, he went to the next level where he said that we need to sever India's northeast away from India. And then, after there was a furor, he kind of deleted his Facebook post. So clearly there is a certain mindset which is operating
prevailing, yes,
in the current dispensation in Bangladesh.
So are we hoping that with administration change in the US, things will now begin to settle down? Are we waiting for that, for Trump to settle in and see what happens, or what are we waiting for?
Shivani, I don't think we are waiting for anything which happens in the rest of the world. This is India's backyard. Whenever India wants to take a decision, I don't think we are going to start seeking permission, at least not under the current dispensation.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Are you saying we could take military action?
I don't know what action we are going to take. But what I'm saying is that unlike what happened after the Mumbai attacks, when the then Prime Minister sought permission from a visiting delegation of Americans, can I strike at Pakistan? I don't think the Modi administration is in the mood to take permission from anybody or seek some kind of clearance from somebody before they start taking any action.
But that was a provocation of a completely different level, Mumbai attacks.
There won't be a significant provocation. For example, if this particular airbase that Ambassador Sikri is talking about was to start coming about, is that not a very significant provocation to India? If supposing the Bangladeshis were to start sponsoring some of the northeastern terror groups, or they are going to start sponsoring some of the Islamist terror groups which have been given a free hand inside Bangladesh, and there are some attacks inside India, do you think that's not a provocation enough? Now, it does not mean that India is going to, send Air Force jets into Bangladesh. It does not need to go to that level also in the initial stages. But short of that, there's plenty of other stuff that can be done.
Okay, I will come back again to you for what you think can be done. Next step plus till where it can go. But I want to go across to Meeta Chakrabarti as well. What was very heartening to see, Meeta Chakrabarti, is when Mohammed Yunus's comment came to light. Across political lines, across community lines, across regional lines, everybody in India spoke in one voice. Do you think Bangladesh is listening?
Good evening to all the viewers and good evening to my fellow co-panelists as well. Well, when it comes to national integrity, the principal opposition party, Indian National Congress, and I think it will probably be true for all political formations across India, we do not wish to do any politics. We stand united, we are all proud Indians, and we all want to stand in the interest of Indians. Now, Bangladesh has always been a very important neighboring country for us. So, as far as the foreign policy is concerned, yes, I think more needs to be done. We need to make the current government, the current Yunus government, more accountable. And it's just not about today's statement. If you look at the happenings of Bangladesh, the way the minority in Bangladesh has been targeted over the last several months, ever since Sheikh Hasina has been thrown out of power. Under Sheikh Hasina, we had seen a relatively higher degree of religious tolerance in that country. But however, under the current regime, the kind of Islamic extremism that we are seeing in Bangladesh, the way religious leaders had been targeted from the Hindu community. I personally have relatives because I come from a family that came to India from Tangail in Bangladesh before partition. So I know how Bangladeshi Hindu families have suffered during the time of partition and even after that, before Bangladeshi liberation happened. And the way the Bangladeshi Hindu families are continuing to suffer is in itself. There had been a lot of religious violence, there had been a lot of religious hate that is going on in that country, and it really pains every single Indian citizen.
So what would you want Modi government to do?
Identity.
What would you like to see?
See, foreign policy is entirely for the central government, and we stand united here. However, what needs to be done? We have to have the current ruling dispensation more accountable. They cannot make such extreme irresponsible statements in international platforms that will have far-reaching impact. So that very strong, of course, we do not want military action straight away. We need stronger diplomatic actions. We need stronger diplomatic conversation in the international community if needed.
You know, Meeta, I'll tell you what, I'm just pushing this subject a little bit because, of course, we all want Bangladesh to understand not just our concerns, but the fact that what India and Bangladesh's history is not comparable to any other two combines. But you know, there is a China in the mix, there is that whole Pakistan angle in the mix, there is an Islamist angle in the mix. We are facing a problem. So would you be with the Modi government as an opposition party if it did what it needs to do, whatever it takes, whether it's taking action on trade, connectivity, which will lead to people ties suffering. Now in the context of Pakistan, we have seen this whole lobby, if I may use the term, which always batted for friendliness, even at the cost of terror. In the case of Bangladesh, will all parties stand together?
No, all parties are standing together. What I'm trying to say here is, do not forget that it was our former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi who had been responsible to a great extent for Bangladesh liberation and who had split Pakistan into two halves and changed the world map forever. So when it comes to taking a strong military stand, we are there in favor of it. But even before we reach that stage, there are economic
economic stances, because that would impact us too. We will have to have the resolve that we will do whatever it takes.
There are times when we need to take strong decisions. So there can be dialogues, there can be diplomatic pressure from the international community, there can be economic sanctions. So there are many steps that we can go through, we can take one after another before we reach a stage where we can think and consider military action.
Sure, absolutely. I'm not saying that military action is what we need to do right now.
From the current ruling dispensation, we need to see more accountability, we need to see more proactiveness, and we need to have a better relationship or reach out. And there's another point that I would like to make before we talk about economic sanctions or further military actions or whatever. I don't think that stage has come yet.
Yes.
But before that, I think India has had a great relationship with Sheikh Hasina's government. And while not taking anything away from it, I think we also need to reach out to all political formation in Bangladesh. We cannot just restrict ourselves to one political family in Bangladesh or one political formation.
Okay.
They are a separate country. So irrespective of their political stance, political ideological stance, we need to reach out and have dialogue with Bangladesh as a whole community.
Yeah, the problem only is in this case it has seemed I agree with you, but the problem is that in this case, since the regime change, it's almost as if the entire tone and tenor of Bangladesh has changed completely. Things have been going down the slide, and there has been no room for for two sides to even see what is happening, what the future could hold. It's just been an onslaught of sorts internally in Bangladesh and against India in a stream of comments. So how do you engage when that happens?
A whole lot of chaos within the country as well. No one really knows what's happening even in the next state, in the next district.
Right. I want to go across to Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry. He's a Bangladesh-based journalist. Your sense of the message that India has given to Bangladesh, between the lines or what the Bangladeshi community is talking about, reporting about, how has it been received?
This Yunus regime came to power, rode into power through a jihadist coup. And Yunus is the leader of all the jihadist groups in Bangladesh, including Hizb ut-Tahrir, Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, Hamas, every kind of dialogue with Gaza, Hamas, it never worked. Because jihadis, they don't understand diplomacy. They have their any solution, number one. Number two, prior to meeting His Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Yunus signed 19 MOUs with China. And he let Chinese authorities build an airbase in Lalmonirhat, where the subcontractor will be a Pakistani company. Pakistani company, which is a front organization of Pakistani ISI. So in Lalmonirhat, China building an airbase with Pakistani the subcontractors. Yunus has also signed an MOU to let Chinese implement the Tista barrage. So the damages he has already done, and he is now claiming the guardianship of the ocean. This is plain audacity. It is a virtually declaring war against India. And
so
after that,
what are you suggesting? You're suggesting India should already be taking some action?
I'm coming to that point. And after that, sitting with India, talking, sitting with Yunus and talking to him, it is useless because Yunus was already becoming isolated in the world. Donald Trump never met him. And you know that if you have seen the recent article in the New York Times, so Yunus is gradually becoming isolated. And for him, it was a lifeline to meet Narendra Modi ji to somehow legitimize his jihadist face and find a door to meeting Donald Trump. I can assure you, I can guarantee, and even after this meeting, Yunus has issued a statement through his official Facebook and Twitter handle, and the entire statement, it is very ridiculous. It shows that as if he is trying to take the upper hand. He is talking about Sheikh Hasina, he is talking about water share, but he is not talking about repression of minorities ongoing in Bangladesh.
So what is the solution here? Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, what is the solution? I mean, ultimately it will have to be the Bangladesh polity and citizenry who will have to demand a change and a legitimate government to come into power. India can't do that. Shouldn't be needing to do that.
In Bangladesh, Yunus represents only 10 lakh people. And 18 crore people are not with Yunus. You have to understand that. And in Gaza, now all Palestinians are not terrorists, but Hamas is. But they have held the entire Palestinians, Gaza people, hostage. So Yunus is another Hamas. Talking to him, meeting him, having dialogue with him will bring no result. As the fellow esteemed panelist said, that there must be some tough action. And in my opinion, India should follow the Israel model now with Bangladesh. And if you understand what I mean, yes.
No, I understand what you mean, but this whole Israel model that we're talking about it in the aftermath of October 7 attacks, which was a provocation of the first of its kind in decades. That requires a separate solution. Certainly, India is not going to jump into that kind of a conflict with Bangladesh. I don't know. So, Shant, you want to respond to what do we do? What is the next step? Because I think Salahuddin's comments are pretty dramatic, but he could be accurate. talking to Yunus is of no use, given who he is backed by.
No, Shivani, I completely agree with what Mr. Chaudhary is trying to say. I might not agree with his prescriptions, but I think his analysis of the situation is bang on. And I personally feel that Mr. Modi can try whatever he wants to try. But, he's talking to, look, either this guy Yunus is an absolute useless fellow who's not going to be able to deliver on anything because he really doesn't control anything. Or he is so beholden to the guys who brought him into power that he will not want to do anything. So I don't expect any good coming from him. I also don't expect any real good coming from whatever election is going to be held, because number one, I don't think that it will be a free and fair election. Number two, I think it will be a very controlled one in which some of these thugs who call themselves students and who are part of the new regime will try and grab power. So I personally don't see any major stability either coming back to Bangladesh or any enlightenment coming to whoever is going to be running the affairs of the state.
Okay. So what do we do?
So I think what we'll have to do is we'll have to have a menu of options that will include military options, both overt and covert. That will include certain other options on connectivity, a range of other issues that can be brought into play, and of course maybe options in terms of using India's diplomatic heft to try and start isolating the Bangladeshis, making sure that
further in the corner of China.
Let me give you an example. Can China supply electricity to Bangladesh? Right? Okay. Now, Bangladesh, not just the Adani projects, but also the other projects which are now going to be linked to Bangladesh. For example, if India, and no option is costless, so don't imagine that you have costless options. There are very costless. For example, if you stop supplying electricity, I'm just giving you one particular example.
Okay.
And there can be any number until they were threatened with dragging them to international arbitration, which would have taken them to the cleaners. So quite clearly, they had to start shucking up the money. But for example, if something was to happen and some clause was to be used that electricity can no longer be supplied, okay, what does that do to Bangladesh's economy? There is the Teesta water issue which is already outstanding. If India was to announce that we are going to build another dam out there and divert the waters which are flowing into Bangladesh and use them for benefit of farmers in West Bengal and other parts of
do any of this?
Yeah, the international community, how has the international community reacted when the Chinese have decided to dam the Brahmaputra river? How much noise have the Bangladeshis made? Now the Bangladeshi guy, this Yunus fellow, is now plastering, as Mr. Chaudhary is saying, his social media handles with that he raised this issue of Teesta waters and all of it. Did he raise the issue of Brahmaputra waters with the Chinese? Why does he raise it with us? The Chinese are damming the damn river. Why does he raise it with us? Why doesn't he talk to his Chinese overlords, who he is asking them to come and integrate India's regions into China's economy and use Bangladesh as an outlet?
Okay.
He has the temerity to do that, but he doesn't have the guts to ask the Chinese why they are damming a river on which Bangladesh depends for so much water.
Okay, can I just ask, Veena Sikri, just for the benefit of our viewers, we've seen instances of this happen in the Indian neighborhood for succession. There's Nepal, there's Sri Lanka, there's Bangladesh now. Of course, we've had issues with Pakistan which are long-standing. What is giving, for example, Yunus the bravado to do what he's doing and say what he's saying? Is it purely just Chinese support? Sushant doesn't think that can be all. Or is it the Islamist support which Salahuddin Chaudhary feels is, 1% of Bangladesh's population? What is behind this?
It's very clear that the way in which this regime change took place, the deep state in the Biden administration gave it full support. So that was the initial strength of what Yunus was saying. But I think today he realizes that that support is no longer there. And so he is trying to bluster it out with the support of China and Pakistan. So he is trying to make a three-front problem for India. We already have a problem with Pakistan front and China front, and now he's trying to create a Bangladesh front. But I think that I agree with a lot of what Sushant is saying, that we have to very carefully look at our own options and not hesitate to use them in the face of the clear security threat that is being posed by what is happening in Lalmunirhat, the Air Force base, and what is happening about Yunus' statement on the northeastern states. And I think that if you see the readout from the Yunus administration of the same meeting that was held today between Prime Minister Modi and Chief Advisor Yunus, they're two different things altogether. Clearly, this is a case of Yunus talking past the Indian government and totally ignoring what our Prime Minister has told him in all good faith. Look, we need to come to a situation of good relationship. The readout from Bangladesh makes it very clear.
Isn't all of this, let's come to the real question, isn't all of this making India look really bad and weak?
No, I think we have to be very clear that India is today exercising strategic patience. It is patience, yes, but it is a strategic patience. We are not going to do anything in a hurry. We're not going to do anything without thinking about it. And we're also going to give the Yunus administration a long rope to see what they do with it. So it is not at all
a weakness on our part.
What India is
Mr.
doing,
Chaudhary, how long does Mohammad Yunus have?
It is no weakness. It is no weakness.
How long of a rope do you think India will have to give him? How long does he have to be this caretaker government in charge?
I don't know what India will do, but I can tell you what is going to happen with Yunus. Yunus is not going to get the money from IMF. Bangladeshi garments are collapsing now because of the new tariff imposed by US. 6.5 million workers will become unemployed in 2 months. So Bangladesh is entering an dark era of extreme economic crisis with massive unemployment, and then 6.5 million workers suddenly becoming jobless. They will come on the street and they will take care of Yunus. I think, as you said, Bangladeshis will have to wake up. Yes, Bangladesh will soon wake up as soon as the garments are shut down. 6.5 million workers, just think of that. They will come on the street and they will take care of Yunus.
Okay. Meeta ji, final question to you as well. This whole episode of tariffs with the US, do you think this could actually provide India an opportunity as far as an economic front is concerned? Do you think India should seize this opportunity and maybe do a preemptive strike, let Bangladesh know, let Mohammad Yunus know that we are capable of something as well? Ma'am, I think you've muted yourself.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think the first obviously remains through dialogue and through negotiation with the community at large and with the current government. But since the dialogue has not been so effective till this point, and obviously time is running out, it has been happening for quite some time now, I would urge the current government to be more proactive, to send out a stronger message. And it's probably time. Yes, everything comes with a cost, but it's
unfortunately, we are having a patchy line with you, but I'll have to leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Let's see exactly how India is able to, both in public domain and in private domain, escalate and put its foot down with Bangladesh. I have to slip into a very short break. On the other side, Waqf Bill has passed the Parliament test, but as expected, already pleas have been filed in the Supreme Court against it. Will it stand the legal challenge as well? We'll get you that on the other side.
288 votes in favour versus 232 votes in the opposition in the Lok Sabha and 128 votes in favour versus only 95 votes in the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. This is how the Narendra Modi government has been able to pull off a big victory on the Waqf Amendment 2025 bill in the Parliament. 12-hour plus discussions on the both houses of Parliament over consecutive days. Home Minister Amit Shah sitting through the entire discussion to ensure all went by plan. Not only have the NDA partners like the JDU, the TDP, the LJP, the RLD stuck all the way through with the government on this legislation, but even adversaries like the Biju Janata Dal moved towards the NDA while voting in the Rajya Sabha, notching up a big total of 128 MPs in support of the bill in the Rajya Sabha, while the NDA official strength is only 123. The Waqf Amendment Bill is a major ideological project of the BJP. After the abrogation of Article 370, the Ram Temple, the Triple Talaq legislation, the Modi 3.0 has come up with its biggest move so far in its third term and within the first year of Modi 3.0, which is the Waqf Amendment Bill 2025. When Mr. Modi took oath as the Prime Minister on June 9th last year, within 2 months of that, on August 8th, the Modi government introduced the Waqf Amendment Bill inside the Parliament. Literally midnight oil was burned by the government to bring this bill to Parliament within 2 months of its third term. But the government knew, and the BJP especially knew, that its allies like the JDU, the TDP, the LJP, the RLD may have issues with certain provisions of the bill because they have large Muslim vote banks in their respective states. That is the reason that the BJP did the smart move, agreed immediately to a joint parliamentary committee of 31 members giving representation to all its allies as well as the opposition members, and the JPC discussed the Waqf Amendment Bill threadbare for the next 5 months. How it helped the BJP was that the concerns of its 4 major allies, which I said, the JDU, the TDP, the LJP and the RLD, were removed during the JPC because they were able to lay their concerns before the JPC. Their amendments were approved by the JPC, and when the bill was introduced in Parliament this week, all the allies were completely on board and in fact targeting the Congress party, targeting the other opposition parties for...
Welcome back. After 2 days of hectic debates in both houses of Parliament, stretching well past midnight, Waqf Amendment Bill passed this hurdle. The story is owning the headlines, but what's beyond continues to remain the question. The opposition says the fight isn't over. The numbers weren't in their favour, but they say they will now take the legal route. But here's what's different this time around. Recent history under Narendra Modi government has witnessed that any laws brought in to govern any aspect of Muslim life have witnessed large-scale public protests, from the likes of Shaheen Bagh to other pan-India protests, even bordering to rioting. But this time around, the Muslim community isn't really on the streets. Is it because it has dawned on everyone that a street veto will no longer work? Or is this subject not the one that the ordinary Muslims are willing to agitate on? From Ahmedabad to Chennai and even to the national capital, though, some protests were called by religious and political groups, not the average citizenry. So is the Muslim community on board the change? And if so, then why won't our politicians accept it too? The Congress says it will file a petition in the Supreme Court. It has done so on many other bills passed by the Narendra Modi government. Meanwhile, one Congress MP, Mohammad Javed, has already filed a petition before the top court challenging the amendment. Mamata Banerjee, another key ally of Congress and also, of course, an opponent of the BJP, says that they will wait to throw the BJP government out before they re-amend the bill that has been brought by them. Jharkhand Minister Irfan Ansari, though, meanwhile, has said that this bill won't be allowed to be implemented in the state. DMK, another key ally of the Congress party, member of the India Alliance, has opposed the bill. They're saying they're going to challenge it in the court as well. CPM is following suit. They have also threatened that they will be bringing a legal challenge to the amendment. And speaking of the legal challenge, AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi has already filed a writ petition in the top court against the bill. Now, NDA ally JDU is reeling from the fallout of backing the bill in Parliament. A slew of resignations have hit the party, and this becomes important given that the Bihar elections are the next big ones on the corner. Mohammad Qasim Ansari, a key JDU leader, has resigned. Mohammad Nawaz Malik, the head of the JDU's minority wing, has also quit. Tabrez Siddiqui Aligarh has resigned from the party's primary membership. So has Dilsen Ren, another JDU leader who has quit over this issue as far as the JDU is concerned. So what is really going to happen as far as the NDA allies are concerned, plus the legal challenge that the bill will face? Will it stand the test of time? BJP claims it was the previous edition of the Act that was unconstitutional, but the Congress and others say that this one will not stand the test of constitutionality either. That's coming up with our guests.
Honorable members, subject to correction, ayes 128. Bill is passed.
Since it's violating the constitutional principles, there are chances for people to go to the Supreme Court.
Do you think a CAA-like situation could arise, like
they
the
are
one
trying.
we saw in Shaheen
Even during Ramzan, they have given a call. So it means that they are constantly provoking.
मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड ने स्टैंड लिए, अगर ये बिल अगर पास करते तो हमने पूरा भारत के मुसलमानों ने, साथ ही साथ दलित और दूसरे कम्युनिटी का लोगों ने सड़क पे उतरेंगे, सड़क से लेके सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक पहुंचेंगे।
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Gopal Agarwal, national spokesperson of the BJP, Arshpreet Kadial from the Congress party. Amber Zaidi is an activist and Atikur Rahman is an Islamic scholar joining us. Atikur Rahman, I want to begin with you today. Are you surprised at all with the reaction to the passing of this amendment bill? Lots of statements, but not quite the fury we have seen in the past on the streets by Muslim leaders or the community. Is it because they realize that it's futile to do so on the streets, given what happened in the case of CA, etc.?
Shivani, the underlining factor you must note it down is, we all are Indians. Our government is our own. If whatever disagreements we have with this government, if they are working against the minority affairs, if they are undermining our constitutional rights, we will be showing their place according to the constitution only. Besides, if there are protests on the streets, I can just tell you that they will be without any violence, without any unconstitutionality. Earlier also in the Shaheen Bagh, we had carried the tricolor and the preamble in our hand.
No, a lot happened in Shaheen Bagh. I don't really want to open that door because a lot happened and I don't think it should be forgiven or forgotten. But I'm not going that route.
I am just reminding you the aspect of the preamble and the tricolor, and that we and Mr. Gopal is one Indian. We will fight amongst ourselves. We are not Pakistan, Shivani. Let us have our constitution and the preamble in our front and see if our government is doing us a favor or they want to, undermine the constitutional rights of the Muslims.
No, that's fine. That's how any community should react. That's how any group of people should react. But that's not been seen. I'm talking about the historic political climate of India that has not been seen as the Muslim response in India. Even now, you must have heard some, Muslim protesters coming out ki hum sadak pe aa jayenge and all of that. Is there a realization that this doesn't work anymore?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That the people will not be, adhering to any political ideas of coming to the streets easily. Unless and until there is a force, there is a compulsion. Of course, our people are going to the Supreme Court. That is our last hope, Shivani.
Of course, you must go if that is what you feel is the right way. But we've seen in the past, Amber Zaidi, we've seen in the past, not just for CAA, NRC, the kind of lies, the kind of protests, blockades, policemen were killed.
Absolutely.
Inside those protests. Let's not forget that. Right?
Absolutely.
And then you see what happened. No. Then you see what happened for a comment from Nupur Sharma.
Absolutely. We have seen a lot of fury in the past and misinformation, myths around all the amendments, whichever the central government has. But wherever it, the government starts to bring any amendment in the constitution, We have seen the similar pattern always. But this time when the Waqf Bill is being presented in the Lok Sabha or within a few days. Now we are seeing
even CAA was passed. It didn't matter.
Shivani, people are celebrating. We have seen people celebrating on the road because it has impacted Muslim community at large. The people who are pasmanda, the downtrodden people. So that's why people are celebrating.
They're not
now.
Protesting as much because you believe that this is not a matter that you can incite their passions on. Instead, they may be able to see the other side, that there was a problem and there may be a correction of that problem.
CA is the best example. There was a lot of misinformation around that, and nobody has, nobody's citizenship has taken away. Nobody's voted.
So has crying wolf actually helped?
Absolutely,
in CAA's case, because now maybe the Muslims also realize that they are being misled in a political battle.
Of course.
Ashdeep, I want to come to you. Is the Ashpreet, sorry. Is the Congress party possibly missing the larger sentiment of the Muslim community? Because we have loads and loads of voices, which wasn't true during CAA, but during triple talaq, instant triple talaq banning and legislation, it was very clear that a large section of the Muslim community was actually for it.
Shivani, on what basis has it been ascertained that the Muslim community is in favor of this?
A lot of comments. This is the only way one can. I can't do a census.
Sorry, through what?
A lot of comments that come from both sides. During CAA, there was a genuine fear amongst Muslims that something could happen to them personally.
Comments come
There's
where?
no such fear this time.
Comments come where?
From the Muslim community,
we could see people celebrating on roads. It's all documented. It's all recorded.
1 second, hear me out. Please, my name is Ajit. The so-called comments. We do know that nowadays there are a lot of fake accounts happening, a lot of chor armies working, a lot of influence is happening on the social media. So let's keep that away. The fact of the matter is that the majority of the... Shivani, may I please?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm saying, okay, you forget social media. I wasn't referring to social media. We go out and...
on road, they're celebrating.
Exactly. We go out and speak to a lot of people. Like you're sitting on the show today, there are shows that have discussed this issue threadbare as well. Just 1 second, Amber. Just 1 second, Amber. This issue has been discussed. CA was also discussed. Instant triple talaq was also discussed. You see the reaction, just generally speaking. That kind of fear or anger is not there. Maybe that should tell you something.
Number one, see, I request, I did not interrupt.
Yes, go ahead. No interruptions, please.
Thank you. So number one, Shivani, the fact of the matter is that a lot of Muslim organizations have spoken against the bill on record. Second, an ally of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the JPC has also opposed it. However, the dissent notes, the differences in opinion have not been brought out in the JPC's report. Why? 3, this bill violates a lot of articles, whether it be Article 25, 26, 29, 30, 14, 246, violates federalism, violates equality, violates minority rights. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party's also disrespected Ambedkar Sahab and the constitution made by Ambedkar Sahab. We all remember the demeanor of Mr Amit Shah, the Home Minister of India, when he was addressing Mr Ambedkar Sahab, when he was saying Ambedkar, 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 and the tone and the sentences and the way it was put out. I think the Bharatiya Janata Party needs to start respecting the constitution, the maker of the constitution. Now, when we go to the Supreme Court, I only want one assurance from the Bharatiya Janata Party that once the Honorable Supreme Court strikes it down, you will not bypass it like you've always been in the way.
Well, on a subject like this, it might be very difficult. But can I just ask you, Ashpreet, before I go across to Gopal as well?
There are good chances.
From 370, from 370, Article 370 abrogation to CAA to election management, etc. There is a whole list of legislations that the Congress party has opposed in courts. Is this not becoming a pattern? That any kind of bill that the government passes, you will kind of mire it in legalese and litigation in court. Is that the function of the opposition?
Can anyone say that all these bills had 100% perfection? There were no loopholes, lacunas, problems. Can anyone in the world say it was 100% perfect? We cannot. Right? In a democracy, we are supposed to make things better. And how do we do that? It is done through debate and discussion. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party does not want to talk to the stakeholders, does not want to talk to the opposition. The least they can do is debate. However, this report, this bill, which is of 450 pages, merely 2 days were given for clause by clause discussion, which therefore could not happen. Now, the fact of the matter is just 2 points, Shivani. One, Article 26. The state, it's being violated. How? Because the state government's officer will now be deciding the Waqf disputes, which takes away the Waqf's autonomy and which is a direct interference in the religious affairs.
Why should the Waqf have autonomy? No other religious group has autonomy over land issues.
I'll tell you why. Because Article 26 allows for that. Article 30 allows for it.
So why didn't you do this for all other communities as well?
Shivani, I'd like to add.
One second, I'll come back to you.
Shivani, can I come
Yes,
in now?
Yes, sir. I'm coming. Just 2 minutes of patience from you. Yes, sir. Yes, Ashpit, finish.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is, Article 30, the Bharatiya Janata Party is not bigger than the Constitution, not bigger than the article. What does it say? Minorities have the right to self-manage their institutions. This is not something that we are saying.
Yes, I know what you're referring to. The distinction that has been made.
Now tell me.
Ashpit, I have limited time. I got your point. The distinction that has been made is that management of Waqf properties is not impacted. But when it is an issue of land and land ownership, that right has never been given to a religious tribunal. No Hindu temple trust can decide who owns a land or who that land belongs to. So that was the unlevel playing field. On top of that, there is no tribunal on the basis of religion in India, barring the Waqf tribunal. Secondly, as far as land disputes are concerned, you cannot have the Waqf tribunal sitting on judgment on its own contentions whether a land is Waqf or not. But anyways, we've discussed the bill. Yes, Gopal Agarwal. Ashpit, sorry, I'll come back to you. Gopal Agarwal, legal challenges, the opposition collectively plus a lot of the Muslim bodies will do so. How do you see it?
I'll take 2-3 minutes. Important thing is when you said that the opposition on the ground on this bill is not finding its same resonance as it was earlier. The reason is because people of the country have seen the opposition stand up and the effect of appeasement politics that they do, their wrong information, narratives, etc. with the change of BJP will change the constitution. And other issues have completely CAA. HM on the floor of the house said that give me a single example where CAA has taken away anybody's citizenship. So they were calling everything that CAA will take away the citizen. The wrong narrative that the opposition wanted to build. The people have seen through it. Second is that they have also seen the ill effect of appeasement politics, that vote bank politics that the opposition wanted to play for last 60-70 years in the country. And the third thing is that you leave aside Hindu-Muslim debate on this. Talk on Waqf Board. Waqf Board is a management and the transfer of ownership, whether it is ownership of the property. It is not only concerning Muslims. The property that the Waqf Board claims
concerns others as well.
That belongs to different minorities, Christians, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhism and Hindus. So it is not only of a Muslim issue. It is only once the property goes to the Waqf, that's management for the religious everything, that will be with the Muslim people. And the last thing that I want to tell is that it is important. The Waqf Board had a objective. Even Sachar committee said that the Waqf Board had lost its objective of welfare of the poor and women, and Waqf Board was being used for personal gain of influential and business community. More than 21 lakh properties have increased over 2013 to this thing, and the total income that the Waqf Board is getting is minuscule. It is the largest property holder in the world, Waqf Board, Indian Waqf Board. It is the largest non-governmental property holder in India.
Yeah, at least as far as the land claimed is concerned.
It is going. In whose pocket it is going? Is it going for the welfare of the poor Muslims, women, etc.? It was
as
not.
It was intended
the committee itself. So leave aside Hindu-Muslim issues. Issue is of constitution. They say now opposition want to say just one thing. The constitution of India, which is so strong, which has stood the test of the time, it rests only on this Waqf Amendment Bill. Is this the case that we want to tell?
No, I mean, if there isn't any unconstitutionality or any grey areas,
who
they are
will
free to
decide?
take it to court.
No, it is how a cabinet has passed. JPC has taken more than 584 meetings. Over 5 months, it has discussed with many people, and we have the letters from so many Muslim organizations, Christian organizations, Sikh organizations.
So be it, sir. So be it. I'm not saying that there wasn't support for it. I'm just saying that legal test is something that is everybody's right. It's ironical we are saying that in the context of the Waqf debate, because that's exactly one of the grouses that legal recourse as a right was taken away because of the amendments that were done till 2013 as far as this act is concerned. You couldn't go to a civil court or a district court to fight against the tribunal. The tribunal verdict was final. All you could do was file writs, I think, in high courts. And how many people can afford to do that? 2 minutes left, 1 minute to Amber and then to Atikur Rahman. Yes, Amber.
Shivani, I wanted to, add one point that bringing Waqf boards into the transparent and accountable and reasonable constitutional scheme is therefore not a Hindu versus Muslim issue. And also the Such a Committee report of 2006 and the JPC report on Waqf in 2008, both under Congress-led UPA government, advocated efficient management and digitization of Waqf records. They also talked of revamping the composition of Waqf board to make them more inclusive. And also, these reports also recommended non-Muslims, non-Muslim technical experts.
Technical experts.
I
have limited time. Atikur, I'll give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to Atikur, the rest mics down, please.
Mr. Gopal, the solution to appeasement cannot be communalism. Your bill is not only communal but sectarian. You are dividing the society. You are dividing the
not at all.
Of India.
You divided the society. Opposition divided the society. They never care for the poor Muslims. They never cared for the women in the Muslims.
Okay.
And you are talking about
that. Don't you do that divisive politics?
Where did you care for the poor Muslims?
All right. Is for the public to judge and of course possibly now for the courts to judge. I've run out of time. I do thank our guests for joining us. Discover the power of Young Bharat at Rising Bharat Summit 2025, where innovation, ambition and vision converge. This is your exclusive chance to gain insights from global visionaries. Jeffrey D. Sachs, one of the world's most respected economists, Boge Brende, President and CEO of the World Economic Forum, sharing their insights on India's role in a changing global order.
Brought to you by
288 votes in favor versus 232 votes in the opposition in the Lok Sabha, and 128 votes in favor versus only 95 votes in the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. This is how the Narendra Modi Waqf Amendment 2025 bill in the Parliament. 12-hour plus discussions in the both houses of Parliament over consecutive days. Home Minister Amit Shah sitting through the entire discussion to ensure all went by plan. Not only have the NDA partners like the JDU, the TDP, the LJP, the RLD stuck all the way through with the government on this legislation, but even adversaries like the Biju Janata Dal moved towards the NDA while voting in the Rajya Sabha, notching up a big total of 128 MPs in support of the bill in the Rajya Sabha, while the NDA official strength is only 120. Project of the BJP. After the abrogation of Article 370, the Ram Temple, the Triple Talaq legislation, the Modi 3.0 has come up with its biggest move so far in its third term and within the first year of Modi 3.0, which is the Waqf Amendment Bill 2025. When Mr. Modi took oath as the Prime Minister on June 9th last year, within 2 months of that, on August 8th, the Modi government introduced the Waqf Amendment Bill inside the Parliament. Literally midnight oil was burned by the government to bring this bill to Parliament within 2 months of its third term. But the government knew, and the BJP especially knew, that its allies like the JDU, the TDP, the LJP, the RLD may have issues with certain provisions of the bill because they have large Muslim vote banks in their respective states. That is the reason that the BJP did the smart move, agreed immediately to a joint parliamentary committee of 31 members giving representation to all its allies as well as the opposition members, and the JPC discussed the Waqf Amendment Bill threadbare for the next 5 months. How it helped the BJP was that the concerns of its 4 major allies, which I said, the JDU, the TDP, the LJP and the RLD, were removed during the JPC because they were able to lay their concerns before the JPC.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan, and this Friday edition we start with the Waqf Amendment Bill that's found passage through both the houses in Parliament. The Rajya Sabha passed the Waqf Amendment Bill 2025 in the wee hours of Friday after a fiery debate on the matter. The debate that began on Thursday afternoon went well past midnight. The upper house debated the bill for